Leader's Edge. I am Michael Angelo Chua. We are in for a wonderful episode tonight. Welcome to Season 5, Episode 4. Our speaker for today is an international consultant, an author, professor, lecturer in the fields of operations management, production management, total quality management, turnaround management, productivity improvement, strategic planning, Six Sigma, and many, many more best practices. He is an industrial engineer, graduated magna cum laude from the University of the Philippines, with more than 30 years of consulting and training experience covering manufacturing, construction, mining, petrochemicals, healthcare, banking, and advertising in Southeast Asia, India, Guam, Marshall Islands, Vietnam, and Germany. He is a core faculty in operations management since 1982 at the Asian Institute of Management. He is also an author. He has written books titled Quality Means Survival, It's the Customer, Your Real Boss, Turnaround Management, Best Practices from the Indonesian Experience, and What is a World-Class Factory. He is also a publisher of the website www.rtdonline.com, a one-stop guide on business management, and the RTD Knowledge YouTube channel, a learning site for process analysis and process improvement. To talk about pivoting one's career or business in the new normal, may I present to you Professor Rene Domingo. Let's give him a round of applause. Professor, good evening. How are you po?
Hi, Michael. Good evening. Thank you for
Yes.
inviting me to be part of your session
Ah,
today.
it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure, no? So, it's Wednesday night. Would you like to greet our audience?
Yes, I'd like to greet everyone. Good evening. I hope everybody is okay and staying safe. Okay, we live in very challenging times. I hope we can move forward and get out of this crisis sooner than later.
Yeah, that's true, no? And speaking of challenging times, it's almost 1.5 years since the epidemic has kept us in our house and business has really been affected. And the things we used to do in business really has been affected in so many different ways. And we're so happy to have you, Professor, to share with us insights on how we can cope up. No? Kasi our audience here, we have a lot of entrepreneurs, small businessmen, and we also have lots of corporate management officers who are in top corporations, but we are all affected. So you are a proponent of continuous improvement, systems improvement, no? So may I ask, just to start off things, what are these practices that we've known for many years, are they still relevant during these times?
Not just relevant, but very relevant and very critical, especially during these times. No? What you call continuous improvement, it is really time to rethink the way we do business, especially the way we make products, the way we serve our clients, okay, and the way we make money, right? Because the environment has changed. So even before the pandemic started, these strategies are really vital to any corporation, especially because of competition, changes in technology. The pandemic just accelerated the need for change. That's my personal take on this.
So it's still the same methodologies, or did the methodologies also become dynamic? Were there changes in the methodologies to adapt to the situation right now?
There are similarities, but there's a big difference because we don't have much time. Okay.
Mm,
Continuous improvement takes time, but a lot of companies are now in trouble. Huh? They're burning
that's true.
cash, they're declaring bankruptcy, they've lost their market, and we don't know when this thing will end. No, we don't
Mm.
even know when herd immunity will will solve this crisis once and for all. So time is important. So on top of improvement, we have to pivot. Pivot is doing things faster, no? But intelligently, which I will hopefully share today.
Okay, good. Okay. So, um, you said many businesses. In fact, I am a businessman, professor. I run a chain of IT retail stores, and we have been affected in good ways and in bad ways. The demand is up in our business. However, our efficiency has really gone down because many people are not on site, and the work from home is not really ideal, right? I mean, it's workable, but it's not really ideal. Maybe it's just a matter of adapting to change as well. What would be the what is your recommendation for small businesses like me? How do we set up, or how do we start putting together methodologies or adapting methodologies to cope up with the situation right now?
Well, in general, there are two things to really change or improve, okay, given the complexity of this crisis. Okay? What are these two things? One is the product, the other is the process
Mm-hmm.
of selling or producing it. And both are affected by the pandemic, right? For example, product. I think if you're in computer, you're still relevant, okay? Because you can use computers at home. But in other industries, their product became irrelevant, okay? At
Yeah.
least for this. They have to change product, okay? So let's say that your product is still relevant. You're in digital products, which is still very relevant because of e-commerce. The only problem is the process of selling, which is not
Yeah.
face to face. You have to do it, online, and you're not most computer businesses are not ready for this. Okay, they're used to face retailing. So that's the thing you really have to pivot. No? How do you perfect your e-commerce logistics system? Remember, e-commerce is not pure digital. A lot of this is logistics. Okay,
That's true.
delivery,
Yes.
payment, returns, after sales service. You have to do this at home. They will not
Yeah.
bring your PC to your shop. You have to fix it at home. So you're not ready for this, right?
That
You're
is
not.
true.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are the general areas. Now, if your product becomes irrelevant, then there's something else I'd like to share about that later.
Yeah.
Then you have a bigger problem, right? You have to change your product as well as your process.
That's true. Yes, I agree. The biggest problem we had is coping up with warehousing and logistics,
Yes, yes.
and because that is how the product is still relevant, the demand is there, but getting the product to the client is another matter, right?
That's what
Um,
you kaizen. That's what you kaizen. Huh?
yeah, that's what you
Or
guys said.
reinvent. Or reinvent.
Yeah. So many companies actually have really taken for granted the methodologies, right? We talk about it in theory. We probably practice it once in a while. But now with the changes and transformations of the requirements in business, I like in my company, we were pushing to have a permanent focus group or a department that will handle process improvement. So we actually appointed a manager for a process improvement department. Okay, does that make sense, Professor?
It will help, but it's not enough, right? You really have to get the voice of the customer, and the customer has changed, right? You design a process based on the new expectation of clients, which are really more safety conscious and budget conscious. Okay? Two things have happened because of the pandemic. Huh? They become more budget conscious, okay? Because they lost
Yes.
jobs, they lost income, and they're now afraid of getting infected. So they don't want a lot of touch points. They don't want inconvenience. Right? They
Mm.
do social distance. So this applies to e-commerce. Okay? So you really have to think the process. It's not your typical, automation, typical, streamlining in the pre-pandemic times. It's a new normal, which is not normal actually. Okay, which is not normal. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Normal means new rules of the game. Okay, the game has changed in serving clients.
That's true. So, one thing that we espoused on also is setting up a ticketing system, because one of the things that we realize is we do not know how to measure KPIs and efficiency anymore, since everybody is not on site, everybody's working from home, etc. And when we did that, we had a hard time defining how to measure efficiency. Although there are some ways to do it, quotas, number of documents, transactions that are done on time. But is there like a suggestion or recommendation on a program that can help us develop that properly?
Well, I think when you pivot a business model, so I mentioned product and process. Well, on top of that, you have to change the way you measure things. Okay? The way
Yeah.
you measure performance, the way you measure effort, and even the way you measure success. Now, with work from home, and everybody's at home, both employees and clients, okay? So what is really more important, and this is what will make this pandemic really challenge the way we conduct business, is we have to be more output and results oriented rather than input or effort oriented. A lot of our metrics are really more input and effort oriented, like attendance, okay, being on your desk, tardiness. Now, since everybody's at home, you cannot measure this unless you
Yes.
have a video cam 24/7
Yeah.
watching your employees all over the world.
True. True.
It doesn't make sense. So what you want to do as a businessman is to measure results, no? Effectiveness, okay?
Yeah.
More than input like sales or customer retention, okay? Product returns, okay? Payment on time. These are results. This is what we need. Collection on time. This is what businessmen, they don't need attendance. They don't need timeliness, okay? Okay? You don't make money out of this. You make money with sales, okay? You make money with repeat purchase or with collection or cash flow, okay? So we move from input KPI to output because people are not visible nowadays, right? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's very important, no, what you just mentioned. Changing from input KPI to output KPI, no, results oriented measurements, right? So
Pay them for that. Pay them for
uh, is there like, can you recommend, we have so many methodologies, right? So in my case, I sent my middle management to Sigma. Okay, but is that the best practice to adopt or to focus on? Are there any other recommendations?
Well, it helps if it is appropriate to the business. Okay,
Mhm.
Six Sigma is good in terms of theory, but during this new normal, you have to apply it in practice. For example, how do you apply Six Sigma to e-commerce? There are a lot of defects, a lot of recall, a lot of items lost, okay, in e-commerce. Okay? A lot of products damaged in transit. Okay?
Mhm.
I've yet to see an e-commerce company measuring the defects per million or failure per million. And this is what we call customer pain point. You apply it on the customer side, okay? Not on the process side. Okay, apply it on the pain points of the customer. Then the
Mm.
stigma will become relevant. Not on the process side, because what's more important is what hurts the customer, okay? Like returns, getting defects, and you know this very well. You're dealing with tangible products. No? In
Yeah.
transit, things can go wrong. It can get lost, can get damaged, or you send the wrong model. Right? That's where you apply Six Sigma. You should only have a few defects per million. Okay? One return per 5 years or per 10 years. Of course, that
Yeah.
doesn't happen. We have returns every month or every week, right?
Every day.
How can you have Six Sigma when you have complaints every hour? Huh? And you proclaim to be Six Sigma or even ISO 9000,
Yeah.
and you have complaints every week from the same client on the same problem. Okay? So this has to change.
Mm.
The way you measure quality is not just based on the typical sampling, Yeah.
One of the things about measuring outputs is the fact, for example, in among salespeople, and I know it's just not true. It's not just what's happening in my company, but in my friends' companies as well. A lot of the salespeople have been clamoring that management lower their sales quota because of the situation. In other businesses, the demand is not there, the supply chain is broken. So even if demand's there, there's really no sales transaction to talk about. When the sales team says that they need to adjust their sales quota, management is in a predicament about lowering it and still making money, because of course incentives and commissions are affected here. What's your take on that?
I will look at it from a different perspective. I will zoom out. No, sales is already zoom in, right? These are your soldiers. What will support your
Mm-hmm.
soldiers? This is good marketing and good innovation. The reason they cannot sell is because you're selling to the wrong market, whose demand has changed, or you're selling an irrelevant product. Okay? Because mere sales effort during this pandemic will not increase sales. Whether you increase the quota, reduce the quota, this becomes irrelevant. Okay? So you have to innovate. This is where you pivot. So you help your salesman sell the right products. Okay?
Ah,
Pushing them to sell the wrong
yeah.
irrelevant products doesn't help. That's not gonna be a win-win. Both of you will become frustrated. Salesman will become frustrated, and the owners will become frustrated because they're fixing the wrong root cause. Okay, they think it's lack of salesman or lack of incentive, or no, it's the wrong product. They're selling to the wrong market because both have changed.
Yeah, that's true. Another, okay, let's look at, let's say, a different business. No, my family also owns a restaurant business. Okay, it's a grocery and restaurant. So I think we have been affected badly in the sense that, of course, dine-in is very limited, and the change in the process is simply focusing on takeouts and deliveries. No, but one thing also is I see a lot of restaurant businesses closing, and yet there are also many new ones coming up. Uh, so they're being replaced. And the ones that are really coming up are those that are able to do logistical deliveries of their products. Okay. So for small startups, given limited budget, how can we recommend or share with our audience who have a very tight budget, what is the best way to do they get a consultant, or is there's a platform or portal where they can self-learn on these methodologies on how to pivot to new ways and ways of coping up in the businesses?
Well, you're right. No, you have to if you have to think outside the box. You need an
Mm-hmm.
outsider to help you. Okay, unless you know how to think outside the box from inside. Okay? You're
Mm-hmm.
correct on that. But more importantly, you have to look at the end-to-end experience. It's not just the food they want. They want food that is fresh, affordable, safe when it arrives at home. Think of that. And these are very different processes. And restaurants are not used to this. Okay? They're used to sit down with waiters
Mm.
serving, and the food is fresh from the kitchen and no packaging required. Now you have to be expert in packaging and logistics. Huh? And most restaurant owners don't know anything about this. Huh? They just pack it any way they want. Okay, and when it arrives at home, it doesn't taste the same as in the. So the e-commerce will not solve your problem. You have to pivot all the end-to-end process, right? From cooking to packaging and collection and retrieval and after sales service. So this is where you need outside help, because just because you know how to cook doesn't mean you know how to do online delivery. These are two different technologies, Michael. Okay,
Yeah.
so pivot is also expanding your expertise, no? Okay, and one more thing, focus. Don't sell so many things, right? Pivot is not just doing things differently. doing fewer things is part of pivot, right?
That's a very good takeaway. Yeah.
Don't be expert in everything. You're not gonna make money during these days. Eh? Focus on one. Be known for one. Eh? One dish, one type of computer, one type of apparel, what type of sports equipment. Okay, what type of beer? I don't know, but be the best in that space, right? Be the best in video game, for example. Only one video game. Okay? And be good in e-commerce, sending that to the house of the client. Okay. So this is the way to pivot. It's not doing more of the same and trying to have more salesmen and trying to work hard. Working hard will not save anyone here, okay? Because they're working hard using the same template, the same process, okay? It's not gonna work, right? Even if you pay them overtime, they work 25 hours a day. It's not gonna work, right? Okay, mind you.
Well, yeah, just to segue a bit, I am so glad that I have my process improvement department staff and my HR listening into this session right now, because I think we need to refocus based on what you said, and I fully agree with your points. Right, we need to focus on what we are good at, right?
Yeah.
But what if what you're good at is not in demand anymore, and that's what you're saying, that we need to pivot into what the client needs, what the demand is, right? That's probably why some businesses need to shut down. So there are people who suddenly don't have businesses or don't have work. What
Yeah.
do you recommend? Do they are there things they can do to rise again from all this, to be fit in the new normal?
It's not that simple, Michael. No? Saving a
Mm-hmm.
company is not an overnight or listening to 1 hour lecture, right?
Mm.
This is hard work. This is hard work.
Yes.
Huh? It took you decades to build a company. It took you just a month to lose it, right? Because of this pandemic. Okay? So you really have to think hard how to pivot. Now, what is the advantage of pivot? You're not reinventing your business. You're coming from existing strengths, okay? Existing competency. Then you productize it into a new business, into a new market. That's why pivot is for strategy that you have to execute with limited time, because you're paying loans, you're paying salaries. Okay, you don't have 5 years to pivot. You need only a year. Okay, so how do you do that? Don't reinvent your product. You reimagine, let's say, your computer, reimagine your restaurant into something else. Okay, using the same asset, the same investment, so you don't invest again. You don't have to hire new people. You repurpose your assets, you retrain your people, okay, and develop different products that's coming from the same core technology, okay, or core talent, whether it's a product or service. That's in general what pivot is all about. Okay, it's not invention, it's not improvement, it's a reinvention. Okay, it's a recycling. It's a refocusing of what you are good at already. But you don't sell the same product because it has become irrelevant. Okay? You use the same technology to produce another product that's relevant in the new normal or during this pandemic. Okay? Like you're making apparel, why don't you make PPEs? Okay, it's the same technology. Okay? So make face masks, and many apparel companies went to PPEs and face masks, and that's very easy pivot. Okay, no need for new employees, new equipment. It's the same equipment, right? But new markets, new demand, new revenues. Okay, that's one basic example I can give you. There are many more, but this is the way to help struggling companies. Okay, forget about your existing product. Look at your existing core competency, which is not a product. Huh? Okay, it's not a product. It could be a talent of an employee. It could be a technology in your factory. It could be your network. It could be your supply chain. How do you now leverage that so you stay relevant? You know, survival in this new normal is about relevance. Okay, if you lack relevance, you lose quality, you lose markets, you lose your business, you lose your brand. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, I think the keyword here in this talk is really pivot, no? And you've shared with us some tips and ideas. Is there like have you or I'm sure after this talk, some people will start asking us, or probably going to reach out to you, is there a step-by-step guide on how management or how businesses should transform and pivot themselves?
Well, hopefully I can write a book about that. So far, there's none. These are all
Okay.
anecdotal success stories, but nobody's putting it in a framework that you're referring to. Okay, like a cookbook. Okay, but there are
Hmm.
certain principles that, as I already shared with you, check your product, check your process. Which one do you pivot? Either one or both of them. Okay. Then
Hmm.
get help outside so you can think out of the box. I'm already enumerating some of these steps. Nah? Don't
Yes.
reinvent the wheel. Use the same wheel to produce another type of vehicle, right? Maybe a windmill, maybe something else, right? Need not be
Yeah.
a vehicle coming from a wheel, okay? It could be a lifesaver, it could be whatever, okay? So this is a sort of reimagine. You know, you need a lot of imagination to pivot, not just sheer management skills, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Management skills, you have to add imagination.
That's true. Professor, I know you have so much to share, and we're the audience will have a lot of questions, but 1 hour will not be enough to cover everything. But I mentioned earlier when I was introducing you that you do have a YouTube channel, right? Can you tell us a little bit more on what we can expect from that YouTube channel? What do we see here?
Well, not just YouTube channel. The more relevant one is my
The
social
website?
media.
Yeah, the
Not the
social media.
website, the Facebook and
The
LinkedIn.
Facebook. Okay.
And also LinkedIn. Well, I share a lot of my posts on how to deal with this pandemic, both
Mm.
as a businessman and as an employee, and as to help the economy. And this is where I share a lot of my ideas. And but YouTube, I use it for my students. That's where I produce videos on operations management. Okay, how to improve the process, how to improve, not necessarily to deal with the pandemic. Okay, because I produced that before the pandemic. But the other
Mm.
social media ideas, I produced that since last year, since last year, even before the pandemic started. I mean, the
Oh.
lockdown started in March.
Yeah, so dear audience, if you want to learn more about this, you can always go and search in the profile page of Mr. our Professor Rene Domingo, no? Many tips, many learnings that we can get from this new normal, how to survive and pivot, right? Professor, I know that you have written several books. Would you like to share a little bit more, if where we can get them and what they're about?
Well, I have some. Let me see. Oh, oh, hold on. You'd like me to share some of
Yes,
my
please.
slides, okay? Because this may be relevant to your audience. Okay, so let me just start with one or two or four slides. Okay, you were talking about the book, right? So
Yes.
let me try to share. Uh,
Yeah. The book, and maybe you can also share the link to your Facebook profile, we people can go and see. Yeah.
yes, maybe I'll show it in a while. So can you see my book? Okay, so can you see it, Michael?
Yes, we can see it. You can start the
Oh,
slideshow, or yeah, yeah,
well,
there you go. There you go. That's good. That's good.
these were not written or published during the pandemic. This is before
Hmm.
the pandemic. As you can see, these two books, my first two books, and one I co-authored with an Indonesian author, really focuses on pivot. Okay?
Hmm.
One is pivoting through quality because during that time in the 80s, 70s, a lot of businesses were hurt by the Japanese uh, encroachment, no, in their industry. Made in Japan became synonymous with quality. So a lot of companies lost their business market share because of the quality of Japanese products. So I recommended how to deal with this. To improve your quality so you can beat your competitors. And then comes the Asian crisis, which hit us in the 1998, started in Thailand and it went to Philippines, Indonesia. So I wrote a book about best practices on turning around the company during an economic crisis, which we are experiencing also now. Okay.
Yes,
So
yes,
these are
very
the two books.
relevant. Yeah.
So these two books may still be relevant today because quality becomes different expectation. So you have to pivot your value proposition. Okay. And of course, in turning around the company, it's very relevant today because a lot of companies now are facing cash flow problems, high
Mm.
costs. So they have to turn around not only their product, their process, but also their financial management system, the way they finance their business.
Where
Okay.
are the books available, Professor?
Fortunately, maybe in Amazon, but it's out of print in the Philippines.
Oh,
I
okay.
used to hand this out to my students years ago. But I think you can still find this in Amazon. Okay.
Okay, that's great. That's great. That's great information. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you share also the link to your Facebook where we can pick up
Just go
ideas?
to my Facebook, just put Rene T. Domingo in the search.
Okay.
And okay, you
So,
can see what
audience, Renetti Domingo, look for it. You'll
I,
pick up a lot of gems.
I show you an example, Michael, of my post in
Yes,
Facebook.
please.
But this was published with AIM. I call it COVID-19 Insights. Okay, and there are many of this, and this is one post relevant to our topic. No, who should pivot? Okay, and it's all there. Just to summarize, uh, I, I, I I categorize companies whether they're doing something essential or non-essential, whether low touch or high touch. Okay, low touch means very less customer interaction. High touch means very high customer interaction. So if you look at the different industries, uh, these are badly hit, right? These are
Yeah.
badly hit. Those in the non-essential high touch, their product service became irrelevant.
Mm.
These people, this business have to pivot quickly, otherwise they'll shut down, right? They'll shut down. Okay, but even this, if you're doing essential but you're in a high touch uh, mode, then you have to improve your touch points, reduce your touch points, even though you're essential, like education, hospitals, etc. These are safe. Those are doing low touch and essential. No need to pivot, but you have to deliver on time. You have to have capacity. Okay, and so this is my recommendation. You can see this in my Facebook. Okay, just to summarize, if you want to pivot, okay, you're doing non-essential high touch, then you have to pivot, okay? Or divest if you cannot. Okay? Reimagine your product. So these businesses have to. The other one that has to pivot are this. Okay, non-essential but low touch. You have to pivot to semi-essential, so increase value for money. Okay, these guys are safe, right? But these businesses are also need to improve their touch point because they're essential. Yeah, sure, there's demand for it, but it's high touch. So they have to go online. They have to reduce contact time, etc. Okay, so different
Yes.
pivot strategies depending on which quadrant you belong to. Okay, so these
Oh,
are the things I share in my social media. Okay, small and medium companies, big companies can get ideas from this.
oh, thank you
Okay,
very
so
much, Professor.
that's basically the kind of uh, sharing I do on social media.
So I'm sure a lot of our participants might be thinking of reaching out to you. Would you like to uh, share with them? Maybe some will probably ask us if you are open to consulting.
Yeah, I do that. I do
You
that.
do
In
that.
fact, I help companies even before or during the pandemic. But I really help them in the area of productivity and quality. Okay, to help them cut costs and improve profitability, even if sales are down. Okay, okay? You don't have to have high sales. I keep telling them. Yeah? Even with limited sales, you can still make money if you are lean and efficient. Okay?
Yes, that is
So,
very true.
that's where how I help companies. Okay.
Okay, so we're about to close our session. Any closing remarks, Professor Domingo?
Well, you're talking about pivot. I just want to not really summarize, but qualify the meaning of pivot. It's not just for businessmen. It's also for organization, for employees, for individuals to rethink their career, right? reinvent themselves, huh? Okay, discover their hidden talents, okay, and productize it so it can get new jobs or maybe become a new entrepreneur. It can also apply to a country, right? And many countries are now in trouble, okay? And they keep selling the same things, the same export. Then the countries have to pivot, otherwise they will become bankrupt like businesses, okay? Like businesses. So it's really urgent, okay? It's really urgent. We cannot wait for this pandemic to just disappear. It will be here for a much longer time. Meanwhile, we have to cope. Okay, and the way to cope is not just subsidying, getting more money. Okay, no, we have to reimagine our businesses through the pivot strategy. Okay, so that's basically.
Thank you, Professor Rene Domingo. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, the new normal demands a lot of transformation and pivoting from us. We cannot just cut jobs. We cannot just lower expectations, but we need to look at the whole business cycle and pivot our way to survive and flourish in the new normal. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us thank Professor T. Domingo for this wonderful and very relevant session. Thank you very much. So
Thank you,
now,
Michael, too. Thank you, Michael.
thank you. So everyone, do tune in next Wednesday for another talk featuring Crystal Barr, who will talk on holistic mental well-being for our 5th episode of Season 5. Don't forget to click on like, share, and subscribe here on this channel so that you will not miss a single episode. For here in Leader's Edge, learning is a never-ending journey with limitless vistas. Stay safe and good evening.